It had to be you. It had to be you. Such a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It just had to be wonderful you. It had to be.
Hello, welcome to a very cozy winter episode. I have the fire going. It has been raining all morning, and it's just got me in the mood to do some winter cooking. I am 37 weeks pregnant today, and I believe that from now the baby can be born and it's fine, it's not premature. So could come at any time during this recipe, but I don't think it will. I think he'll probably stay in there until 40 weeks or so. But I'm excited about today's recipe because I wanted to do a chicken pot pie because it's comforting and wholesome and delicious for winter, but I wanted to do it with Tuscan flavors. So I'm going to jettison the traditional ingredients of carrots and peas and cream. And I'm going to use instead porcini mushrooms and pancetta and lots of wonderful fresh herbs like oregano and thyme and some sage maybe, and some white wine, of course, which is in a normal recipe, and then also radicchio, which this is this beautiful vivid purple vegetable which I adore. It's very bitter. If you want to take the bitterness out of it, you can soak it in some vinegar and lemon juice just for an hour in cold water. But I love the bitterness, especially because it's a lovely counterpoint to the creaminess and saltiness of a chicken pie. I'm not sure if I should put the radicchio in the pie or serve it just raw, chopped up very finely as kind of like a little salad on the side, because I do think that when you've got that really buttery pastry and the creamy saltiness, it would be lovely to have a nice fresh just simple salad of radicchio and olive oil on the side. So maybe that's what I'll do. And it could get lost, to be honest, because I'm going to add leeks, a purple onion, garlic, and the porcini mushrooms. And I don't think I'll put cream or milk, although that is what you would traditionally use. It's not something I really grew up with. My mother never used cream in cooking, and I just find that it makes dishes very heavy, and this is already, salty and rich, and I just wonder if it even needs the cream. If you think about like two of the most delicious, loved, creamy dishes in Italian cuisine, carbonara and risotto, neither of them have cream in them. Of course they have butter, of course they have cheese, of eggs, other things like this, but you don't always need to add cream to get a rich result. And so in this case, I think I might just make the broth with some chicken stock, which I made the other day. I've got some left over, and the wine, and all the juices that come out of the pancetta are going to give us enough richness and flavor. And then of course butter. Some people don't associate Italian cooking with butter, and they think, oh, it's just something the French use a lot. But actually Italians, particularly from I would say Tuscany north, use butter in cooking a lot. And I remember when I was going to this culinary school in Parma, and they would just use so much butter in everything. And if you find an Italian, for example, having a piece of bread with their meal, or on the side of, just having an antipasto or whatever, obviously they're going to have olive oil on bread. So it's not like they'll have bread with butter. But if you're talking about cooking and sort of developing those layers of flavor, then Italian chefs will certainly, and also home cooks, will certainly use butter in their recipes. So that is what I'm doing. And can you just imagine, it's already going to be fabulous once you have white wine, butter, garlic, pancetta. It's like, ah. And then you add the earthiness of porcini mushrooms and the sweetness of leeks, that hit of garlic. It's going to be so good. A word about the chicken. Lots of people always tend to go for chicken breast, but chicken breast is great if you're cooking really quickly, like in a pan, you just either side, or you're grilling on a barbecue, wonderful. But if you're doing something that's a little bit slower and you want a more robust flavor and it's got time to really just sit in like a stew like we're doing today, then I find that the chicken thighs are so much more flavorful because they've just got, not to get too graphic, but the thighs work a lot more, and so they've just got a lot more flavor, and you can't overcook them, and they're delicious really in something that is cooked for a lot longer, as in this case. I'm just going to pan fry them, I think, just to get a bit of, for that Maillard effect, just to get a bit of a golden edge, not because you'll see it when it's in the pie, but because you will taste that little bit of extra flavor. And I don't think I'll put the radicchio in. I think I'll leave it on the side. It just might get lost. And sometimes I think if you add too many flavors, that's another thing about Italian cooking. I was kind of inspired by this weekend we had. We were just in Florence, or rather the outskirts in the countryside of Florence. And both on Saturday and Sunday, we went to eat in these very historic villas with the very traditional families, where they have like a team of staff preparing the meals for the lunch. And they were such wonderful flavors, such wintry, robust flavors. One of the dishes was a radicchio risotto, and I can just still taste it. It was so satisfying. I think it may have even had some mushrooms through it as well. And it got my palate thinking about winter flavors and got me all excited about it. And so the weather got me thinking about a chicken pie, which is more sort of British, but I wanted the Italian flavors. Yeah, we shall see. We shall see how it goes. But it's almost like taking the flavors of an Italian risotto and putting it in a pie. And I think that sounds pretty delicious, doesn't it? I might just put an apron over my cream skirt. I'm just going to start by chopping the chicken. I'll just take my rings off. This time of year, I know it can be difficult for a lot of people, and I was speaking with a girlfriend, and she's having a difficult time because inevitably Christmas end of year makes you reflect on what you have, what you don't have, what you perceive that you've failed at, or that that didn't work out this year as you'd hoped. Sorry, let me just get rid of this plastic. It is a difficult time of year for many people. I think all of us become a little bit more pensive and introspective, kind of weigh up where you are, where you wanted to be. It's also emotional because it's a time when many of us congregate with family, and although that sounds wonderful in theory, it can be very problematic because it's not easy if you're not sort of living with, hang on, I'll just get some paper. If you're not living with the family all year round, I mean, we are so lucky to have my parents here, but it is work to make relationships work, not just romantic relationships, but also family, particularly because, there are just complications. There's different characters. There's different values. I mean, just because you're from the same family doesn't mean you have the same values. And Christmas can be a time when you're trying to satisfy everyone, or you're trying to make a time to meet, or you're just trying to coordinate things, and that can be problematic, and there can be perhaps this pressure that comes from, I don't know, films or seeing other families and thinking, why is our family so dysfunctional, and other people are having these cozy little moments, but I really believe that every family has its moments of turbulence, and it's important not to think that other families are just all perfect. And if they are, so be it. Then just, get through this season and know that in the new year, you can sort of part ways and regain your independence. But I think it's important to try, isn't it? Unless it's really toxic, it's important to keep trying with family, because some people just give up, and I think that can be sad, because it's a lot of work to not give up, because some family members might really test your patience. But it's far too easy just to let the years go by and to not speak to each other because of some grievance or something. This also links in with the paid partner for this little section of the video, which is BetterHelp, and you guys are familiar with them, because I don't really work with many people. I don't promote many services or products. I just do believe that at this time of the year, therapy might be something that a lot of people might find helpful. They offer online therapy, and if you use my link, I'll put it in the description box below, but it's betterhelp.com/Kylie, and that will give you a discount off your first month. It's something that can really perhaps get your new year headed in a different direction if you reach the point where, as many do, where you get to the end of the year and you're simply emotionally fatigued, and you hit rock bottom and you just don't know how to go on or how to deal with all the relationships in your life. I was speaking with this girlfriend on Sunday, and she has just a lot of heaviness because of certain relationships in her life, and she wasn't sure that therapy could be something that would even work, because she said, what could they possibly tell me? But it's really important to acknowledge that sometimes you've been carrying so much for so long that you don't have that clarity, and family members or a partner or even a friend doesn't always have that objectivity. Even a well-meaning friend or loved one, they don't have that objectivity to really help you sort through things and try and isolate patterns and see how you can get out of psychological loops that you might be falling into. So yeah, if you want to check out BetterHelp, then you just go to that link that I put below, and the questionnaire is quite comprehensive, so that they can really find the best match for you. Usually in 2 days they match you with someone. If you're not happy, you just click a little button that says, I would like to try a different therapist, no extra charge. Even if you're you've gone away for the holidays or something, and you're not in your hometown and you're just needing some support, you can do it by a video call or a call or messaging. You can just have that flexibility, which I think we all need, because it's not like you want to be running around trying to find a psychologist and drive in to see them, when I think at this time of year we are all pretty busy. Yeah, BetterHelp has these credentialed therapists who are just there, available for you. Make sure that you're going into the new year not carrying the weight of any issue that might be giving you some stress right now. These chicken thighs have the bones on them, so it's a bit messy to cut the bones out, but I think what I might do is, as soon as I've retrieved all the bones, I might just stick them in some water to make some more broth, because chicken broth is always useful in winter. Any ideas? What are some really nutritious meals that I can be making and freezing ahead of time for my postpartum period? What do you think, aside from obviously bone broth? Do you know what? I never thought I would have so much energy in my third trimester, and so late in my third trimester. I just feel really really great, and I don't have any trouble carrying around this giant tummy, which is quite big. Guido is, as you know, he's like got these huge shoulders and big, thick gladiator thighs, and he's obviously quite tall. And then you know, my father is very tall, and it's not going to be a small baby, but I feel, I don't know, surprisingly, I don't feel the weight. I feel like I can just sort of move around. In fact, sometimes I forget that I'm pregnant and I just go through doorways and try to squeeze past people, and I'm like, oh, hang on, I've got this big protruding thing coming out that makes me not as nimble as I think I am. I've been but working out a lot and eating really well, and I don't seem to get cravings when I'm pregnant. I think a lot of maybe cravings are a deficiency, like a way of letting the body know what it needs more of, and maybe my body's just saying, no, I'm happy with what you're eating. I have to say, I do not enjoy chopping chicken. So that was 450 grams. So, and this is the third packet. So I must take note of the measurements for you if you want to recreate this. Although I feel like with a chicken pie, kind of depends on what dish you have. You know, I tend to cook. If you've watched any of my cooking videos, you know I cook pretty much like a grandmother, just not measuring anything and approximating and all that, but it doesn't make it very easy for you, and so I will try to write everything down. Okay, this can go into a pot and we can start that broth happening now. Okay, look at this lovely pot. Okay, so I'm just going to put my bones into this pot of water, and I might just add in also an onion, just to get some extra flavor. I might just add a whole head of garlic as well. I'll just chop that, and that can be in there, and yum, create a delicious broth. Put that on the stove. Let's put some more wood on the fire. So I'll begin by just putting a little butter and some olive oil in the pan, and the combination of butter and olive oil stops it from burning. And then I will season the chicken with some salt and just brown this first in this big pan. I'm going to choose a big pan that's deep enough so that I can have all of my broth and vegetables and everything in there as well. And while that's cooking, I will get on to chopping my leeks and my onion. Leeks tend to have a lot of soil in them, so just washing these. Being pregnant, I don't want to have toxoplasmosis. Just going to roughly chop these. Oh, I love leeks so much, don't you? Especially with butter. I might just turn that chicken. Oh, look at that. At this point I might add in the pancetta. You see all these lovely bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pan will come off when we deglaze with the white wine. Onion, leeks, generous bit of butter, I'll just turn that down while I quickly chop my garlic. 1, 2, I think 6 cloves. So just added in the garlic, and the leeks and onions have really collapsed down and are almost transparent. And now the moment that I've been waiting for is to add some wonderful white wine to take off all of that. Actually, you know what? See, the butter and the water that's released from the vegetables has kind of deglazed the pan almost already. But let's just add, let's see, a cup of wine. So delicious. So I'll just leave this to cook the alcohol out a bit, and then I will add some flour and then the chicken broth. I love pepper, so let's just go crazy. This is looking wonderful, and now I'm just going to add in 4 tablespoons of flour and just cook that off a little bit, cook off the flour.
Some others have seen might never be me, might never be cross or try to be boss. Oh, but they wouldn't do.
And then I have my herbs and porcini mushrooms and the chicken broth.
Thrill with all your faults, I love you still. It had to.
Oh, can you imagine how wonderful this smells? Butter, garlic, white wine, herbs, pancetta, mushrooms, chicken, leeks. Oh! So I just lowered the heat, and I'm just going to let that become even more delicious than it is, and let the sauce thicken a little bit with the flour. And then we're done with our filling. This broth here I'll just use for something else, because I want to leave it for about 4 hours or something to really get the most out of the bones. Oh, look how thick and flavorful and rich this is. I really don't think it needs cream or milk. It's just like a delicious Tuscan stew or something. You know, this would sort of just dull a lot of the flavors. I think I want that freshness of the herbs, and I want to be able to taste the mushrooms. And look, I'm not against it. If you really want to add cream, go for it, splash it all in. But this is a nice way to make it a little less heavy, because it's already going to be quite a rich dish. Ciao! Ciao, hai fatto una lunga passeggiata? Hai fatto una lunga passeggiata con mio nonno?
such a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It just had to be.